Hey, good morning, everybody. 60 Vet here. So last week I'm sitting at my desk at work and my phone rings and it's my sister. And we chit chat a little bit and she says, are you sitting by your computer? And I said, yeah. And she says, can you go to this website, www.art.com? So I said, okay, no problem. So, I keyed it in and this comes up. And she said, in the top left, in the search argument, key in this number, 103-97784A. So I do that, and when it comes up, I notice that it's a picture of the Last Supper. So my first thought was she wants a picture frame. No big deal. I've made bazillion picture frames for my wife and family, so I'm already thinking about what I'm going to do and how I'm going to approach this depending upon the size of the picture. And she proceeds to tell me that the church that she belongs to, they're going to be putting on a play, and what they want is a stage prop, and they want a table. And she wondered if I could make a table like this. I says, yeah, probably. And she says, well, if you look real close, like at the legs, that's really what they're after. They want it to look as much like that picture as possible. So my first thinking is no big deal. Just a couple of the brackets, sawhorse brackets, measure the 2x4s, whatever length you need, cut them down, mount them inside the brackets, screw them in, and you're done. Then they can take a 4x8 sheet of plywood, rip it down the center, and have a 2-foot wide by 8-foot long, or double it and have it 16-foot long table. It's no big deal. So I says, yeah, I can do that for you. She goes, it's no problem. So then she said, well, if you look close at it, she goes, there's that scroll work between the legs. She goes, is that something you can do? And it's like, well, I've never really done any scroll work per se, and to make it look 3D so that it's standing out a little bit, would be a little bit more, difficult, but still not terribly difficult. So we chit-chatted, and to make a long story short, I told her, go to Home Depot or Lowe's, and here's what you need. How many brackets and screws and 2x4s and things like that. And I said, if you find any scroll work, pick it up. I said, we can always take it back, but pick it up and, let me see what it looks like and what I can do with it. So what she came back with was this. And what she had originally thought was to take two of these and have them kind of in an upside down V. And yeah, that would work, but for me, it just didn't quite do. It just quite didn't do what I wanted it to look like. So what I ended up doing was I took it and I cut it. Each piece I cut it much better than I did here in Photoshop. I cut it along the sides over here. And then what I did was I took and rotated them like this and moved this piece over here. And then I took this piece and rotated it and put it over here. Kind of like that. I mean, you get the idea. And I came up with that design. Probably a little bit neater than this, but you get the gist. To me, that looked much better than what she originally asked for. So then as we go along, she starts telling me that not only does she want or need a table, she needs two tables, because they're going to do the same thing in two different locations on two different evenings, or on the same evening, but in two different locations. So anyway, so this is what I came up with. Very basic sawhorse, no big deal. I cut a little insert to fit in here. The tablecloth will come over and probably be somewhere in this area. But I thought the scroll work came out looking fairly decent that way. They're going to stain the background. I already put about 4 coats of poly over the top of these so they won't accept the stain, so they'll stay light. But that's pretty much what I came up with, and there they are, the eight horses, 4 for each location, with the scroll work on the bottom. And I don't know, for a quickie weekend project, I thought it came out pretty cool. So I just thought I'd share that with you. You never know what you're going to run into when your sister calls. Went from a picture frame to 2 table props. So alrighty, hope everybody had a great weekend. Talk to you later.